Hey guys, it's Courtney with another video for Simon Hurley Create, and today I'm going to be using the Home Run stamp set. I'm only going to be using a couple different images, but end up having two little characters by doing some mirror stamping. So I started off with a piece of Stark White cardstock by Simon Hurley. I'm using my Misty here. It is best to use a stamp positioner, but you don't have to. You can use an acrylic block for this. So you can see that the little body and the face are two separate stamps. So I'm going to start off by stamping out his little body. This is going to be the little boy baseball player. There's going to be a boy and a girl. And I'm stamping with Blackout ink by Ink on 3. This is the first time I'm stamping with these, so I did stamp it twice just to get a bold black outline. And then I can take his little face there and line that up directly on his, well, where like the two little lines come up with his neck. It's very, very easy to line up. But I went ahead and stamped that out twice as well. Now I want there to be a little girl next to him, but I don't want them to be in the same exact position. Even though they will be, it will just be kind of like it will be the mirror image. So I'm bringing out a piece of acetate, and this is just a backing to a stamp set. And I am going to first, again, just do one at a time. The little body here, stamp this out with the same ink. You want to make sure that you are still using an alcohol marker friendly ink for this. I'm going to stamp this down and then flip it over and lay that exactly where I want it. Now you want to kind of hold the acetate down with one hand and kind of rub where the outline of the image is with your other hand. You can see that it's very, very faint, but we'll fix that in a minute. I can just clean that acetate off with a sheet, oh my gosh, with a towel or a stamp chamois, whatever you have. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp out what's going to be her face. Now, you want to make sure that you have a pretty decent impression before bringing this to your card panel. I had a cat hair, a very, very tiny cat hair that I couldn't see until I did my stamping, and figured it's probably just not worth the risk, because if you guys have pets, you know that those cat hairs on stamps, they end up ruining your image. So I ended up stamping this again onto that acetate, flipped that over, lined that up, and stamped or rubbed that ink onto the paper. And now the lines are very faint, and obviously they do not match. In order to get these to match, I am going to bring out a Copic Safe pen. This is an EK Success journaling pen, which is no longer sold. It's no longer available. However, Ranger's Letter-It pens are Copic Safe. So I'll link those below if you guys are interested. They're about the same price as the EK Success journaling pens were, and I can't tell the difference. They're very, very similar. So all I'm really doing is outlining that really faint image that I have there, and I'm using the other one as a guide. So if I kind of get lost, if I have some areas where the ink didn't really rub off too well, I have that image right next to me as a guide. You just want to make sure that you're not kind of creating your own lines, because they're very hard to color over. So moving on to the face. This is going to look bad. It's going to look really bad, but just bear with me. It was easier for me to fill in everything and go back in with a white gel pen later than it is to try to fill in those little teeth and stuff now. So when I drew the mouth and the eyes, I just colored it in completely with the pen. Just bear with me. I know it looks crazy. She looks kind of like a clown right now, but it will all come together in the end. Now, there is another image or another stamp inside the stamp set that is a little ponytail. So I am going to stamp that little ponytail on my little baseball player to the right, and this is going to make her a girl. So we have a girl and a boy there. Next, we're going to move on to the Copic coloring, and I'm very limited as far as the colors that I have. If you guys watch my videos on a regular basis, you will have heard me talk about the issues with the Copic refills. The fact that there aren't any available. So a lot of my markers have gone dry over the last several months, and I am unable to purchase any refills. So I'm kind of working with what I have now. I did have to substitute a couple of colors for my normal skin tone colors, but it worked out all right. So I started with him, and I started with the lightest color first to not only map out the darkest areas, but to get the paper a little bit saturated. And then I will go in with the darkest color and kind of move my way back down. I just added a little bit of shading underneath the hairline and the inside of the ears, on the bottom portion of his arm, and underneath the nose. I did the shading for her the same exact way. I just used a different color combination. But once again, I am starting off with that lightest color to get the paper saturated, especially being I'm not using my normal combination, I guess. I didn't know how well they would blend, so I wanted to make sure the paper was nice and saturated. The more saturated the paper is, the better blend you'll get. You just want to make sure that you're not oversaturating it, because that's how sometimes you can get the bleeding outside of the lines. So the E18 was my darkest color, moving on to the E15, and then I'll go to the E13 and finish off with that E00 at the end, which is the same one we started off with. I'm really having a hard time today, guys. Really having a hard time speaking. And I did forget their necks. I do this every time I color skin tones. There's always a spot that I miss. But I do go back in and fix their necks in just a minute. But first, I am going to move on to their hair. And I wanted to have her have shiny black hair. So I'm actually going to bring in my black marker for her bangs. There's not a whole lot showing here because it's mostly underneath her hat, but I wanted to give a lot of texture to her ponytail. So I'm going to be using some flicking motions, and you'll notice that the flicks are different sizes and different lengths, but they're also going in the direction of the ponytail. So you don't want to do straight flicks if you have a curved object, or else it's going to look a little wonky. So I'm just curving my flicks. So I started with that black, I moved on to the C7, then the C5, and just for the highlight area, I used the C3 and went in very, very quickly with that because I don't want to take away any of that texture that I've already created. For his hair, I'm not doing any shading at all. There is not a lot showing, and I just didn't think it was worth it. So I went in with just one color. Now for their baseball gloves here, I am just going to use a 3-color blend. I'm going to use the E30s. Just going to add a little bit of shading towards the bottom. Same place I put the shading on the arm. So it's kind of consistent as far as the shading. Not a huge deal if it's not. So finishing up with the E31, and this is where I realized, oh yeah, didn't color in their necks. So I'm just going to bring back out the skin tones here with whatever ones were still sitting on my desk. I think I ended up only using 3 colors, and I just added a little bit of shading on either side of their neck because it would be kind of more of a round object, I guess you could say. So moving on to their little baseball uniforms here. I want his to be blue and hers to be pink. I did my shading the same exact way for both of them, so I'm not going to show you the coloring for both of them, but I will show you the color combinations I used. So I'm going to go right in with my darkest color here, which is the B99, and add my shading because my B91, which is my lightest color, is very dry and I don't want to use it when I don't need to. So I just added a little bit of shading to the right hand side of him because that's kind of how he's standing. And I added it to the right hand side of both of his legs and arms, and kind of where his one arm is hanging over his body, that would also cast a shadow. So I'm just paying attention to where one object is laying over another. Always create a shadow there. That's what's really going to give you the dimension. So moved on to the B97, B95, and then the B91 is my lightest color. I did have to work this just a little bit more than I normally do. Like I said, the marker's going dry, and don't do this. Don't use a dry marker, but I just don't have a choice at this point because you're going to ruin your nib. So for her, I colored her the same way. I just flipped around the shadows, but these are the colors that I used for her outfit. And I went back to the hat. And again, I'm just going to show you the coloring of one, but I basically just put a shadow where, what is it called? Is it called the brim of the hat? Is folded up on the rest of the hat, and added just a little bit of shading on either side because again, this would be a round object, but I kept my coloring very, very simple and colored her hat the same way again with those pinks. For their cleats, I want these to look white, so I'm just adding a tiny, tiny bit of shading with the C3 and C1. Again, any white object still has shadows. Now, these guys are kind of floating, so I'm going to add a shadow underneath each one of them, and my shadows will eventually meet, and that's fine. So I'm starting with the C7, which is the darkest, and I'm kind of just scribbling down some color underneath them. Then I'm going to blend that out to either side with the C5 and go down a little bit. Same thing with the C3 and C1, and I'm going to go directly over the darkest color with the lightest color, which I don't normally do, but for a shadow I do. I find that it really makes it look shadowy. So now that the coloring is complete, I can go ahead and add my white gel pen back in. And I made her look even crazier. So I added her little teeth in, not using him as a reference, which I should have. His bottom teeth don't go all the way to the bottom or all the way to either side. And it looked a little wonky. So I waited for the white gel pen to dry. Again, don't do this either. Don't go over white gel pen with your Copic markers or alcohol markers, but I did. I just kind of got rid of those back teeth to make it match a little bit at least. So now that the coloring was done, I did realize that they were kind of off to the left-hand side a little bit. They aren't really centered on the card panel. So I did take 1/4 of an inch off the right-hand side and 1/4 of an inch off the top, and went ahead and stamped out the front sentiment with the scrapbook.com hybrid black ink. And I stamped this off because my ink pad is very juicy and I wanted to make sure I was going to get a good impression. For the inside of the card, which I've been trying to remember to stamp, I'm going to stamp another one of the sentiments from the stamp set, as well as the baseball glove and baseball. That is another image, just to kind of decorate the inside just a little bit. Finished off by adding some fun foam to the back of my card panel. Remember, we cut this down, so it's going to have just a little bit of a white border on all 4 sides, using the scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive, which is very similar to score tape. I like this tape a lot. And I like to use this instead of the wet glue. I always used to use the wet glue on the back of fun foam, and it wasn't fun. So I went ahead and lined that up onto my card base. Again, just leaving a little bit of a white outline or a white border on all 4 sides. And that is it. Super clean and simple today, but I hope you will give mirror stamping a try. As always, I will leave the supplies listed in the description box below. Thanks so much for stopping by, and have a great day. Bye.